Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I just wanted to give you a little progress update on the big news that dropped yesterday regarding Blizzard's latest update for build 90471, which is the build that removes the last four shared stash tab, or at least the access to them from your mod or your single player experience. So just real quick, if you have not seen that video yet, I'm going to go ahead and link that in the video description. But it will discuss a little bit about that, some of the alternatives such as D2R LAN, which doesn't have those same restrictions, etc. But again, if you haven't seen it, definitely check that out, link in the description. But that's what we're going to be kind of extending our discussion topic today with. Got a little bit of good news on that front that I wanted to share with you guys and explain. And so yeah, with all that said, as usual, if you guys are liking this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe, helps everybody out, and definitely be sure to check out that video description below for links to our website, Discord, Patreon, timestamps, and some of the links that you might want to explore today. And with all the boring stuff out of the way, let's just essentially jump right into it. So as a quick recap, I'm going to go ahead and just launch the game, any mod using D2R launch. Again, the Blizzard update will affect all mods that use D2R launch, so this is just a generic, my custom mod. And as we can see here, if I were to go look in these files, we have our first three shared tabs access, but as soon as I go to that fourth tab, it is just showing me everything in my personal section, which I will go ahead and add a town portal scroll here just to make that obvious. As you can see, it is just showing that personal section over and over again. These four tabs have now been essentially disabled, lost access to, for all modders with that latest update. Now, obviously, that's kind of an issue, and we want to, go ahead and try to fix that if we can. So what I'm going to do now is just essentially show you how we can do that through a script I made. So, big disclaimer, this script is not going to restore the functionality of those lost four tabs. It's going to help you retrieve items from those lost four tabs. So if you happen to have all your high runes on the last tab, or your Grail uniques or something, you don't have to just lose all that just because of Blizzard's change. So with that said, there is going to be a PowerShell script that you can download from the description in this video or from our Discord modding tools section that will help you in this process. So here is that script here. Again, it's just 4tab _ item retriever, and that is going to be the script I'll be guiding you through today. So to run this, we're just simply going to right click it and select Run with PowerShell, and you should see an option like this. If for some reason you get like a script access policy error, then just essentially copy that error into Google, and it will tell you what command that you want to paste in to allow scripts on your computer. But for a lot of you, it should just jump straight to this. But with that said, again, this is for retrieving items, not for fixing the actual tabs themselves. That's still under investigation, and I purposely would not expect good news in the short period of time left we have before you need to update and stuff. So yeah, I would just rolling with this for now. So anyways, it's going to be a fairly simple process. It'll be kind of a guided walkthrough. You just press, Y for yes and N for no when you need to, and it'll kind of ask you questions along the way. So after it tells you a little bit about the tool, it's just going to ask you, would you like to proceed with item retrieval? We're, again, going to say Y for yes, and then it asks for the full path to the folder containing your stash files. If you're using D2R launch, this is going to be real simple. Just click the My Files option and then select Save Files. The folder this takes you to is going to be your save folder. If you're not using D2R launch or you're doing this more manually, it will depend a little bit on your actual OS install, but for a lot of people it's going to be in your user or username, saved games, Diablo 2 Resurrected folder. And then again, depending on what mod you're playing or whether you're playing on your retail save location, you'll have to select your extra mod also. But anyways, so again, this is our mod save folder. We know it's our save folder because we can see our shared stash files right here. So this is what we want. I'm just going to go ahead and go into the address bar and copy that. And then we can paste that into the script when we're ready. So I'm going to paste that in, press enter, and now it's going to ask us, do we want to restore softcore and hardcore or only softcore, etc. So for brevity's sake, I'm going to say that we only care about our softcore stash, but obviously if you played both, then go ahead and select what you'd like. Once I've done that, you can see that it's created 2 new files for me. So essentially, those 4 tabs that we're not able to access, it split them up into 2 new shared stashes, each with kind of those 2 tabs moved to tabs 1 and 2, so that again you could hop in game and then you can transfer all those to a mule. So at this point the script is technically done. It's already created those stashes for you. So like I said, if I go back to that folder here, I can see those new files here. So if you'd like to turn my voice off and proceed manually, be my guest. But essentially you're just going to rename your original stash file and then rename these to take their place, load in game, mule things out, rename them around, essentially do that 2 or 3 times until you have all your items, and then you can rename it all back. If that confused you or that just sounds like you'll mess it up, don't worry. This script will also give you a guided walkthrough option. So that's what I'm going to select now. I'm going to say that yes, we would like help renaming things, so I'm going to go ahead and type in Y for yes. And now it's essentially just going to tell me, what I need to do. So as it says, tabs 4 and 5 are ready in game for me to mule. Transfer those items from my new tabs 1 and 2, to whatever mule I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the game, basically just following the instructions, and then we can see again how this will work for you guys and what that changes. So if you're paying close attention to the tabs before, you'll notice these are not the same first 2 tabs that were there when I first opened the file. And obviously if I go to the 3rd tab now, it's empty, whereas before it had some items still. And then just as before, those 4 shared tabs are still disabled. But again, the important part is that we now gained access to what used to be our tab 4 and 5, and now we can proceed to take everything off, mule it onto our characters, whatever, and retrieve all of our items that way. Once you're done, obviously I don't want to bore you guys with, manually doing all the runes and stuff. Once you're done with that muling process for tabs 4 and 5, you're simply going to exit the game and you're going to go back to the script where it asks you, press Y when you're ready to proceed to the next ones. So now we're going to press Y again. Now we're ready for our last 2 tabs, and just like before, I'm going to go ahead and start the game up again. We're going to mule our last 2 tabs, and then we'll finish up on the end of this retrieval process here. But just as before, when I go into these tabs, again, you can see the content is very different. These are the tabs 6 and 7 that were in the original stash file. So just as before with our new mule, we can get everything off these tabs that are kind of dead, and then once we've done our second kind of retrieval process in game, then we can press Y as we've finished muling all 4 tabs. Now it's going to go ahead and revert everything back to normal because again you've got all your items back. So now it wants to restore your original stash. So again, I'm going to go ahead and go in game, and just like it asked me to, I'm just going to make sure that everything in game basically looks as it did before I ran the script, that all my tabs are back to how it was with the ones disabled, and we can see here we got our 3rd tab and everything is kind of back to how it was before I started scripting everything. But as you can see, if you use your imagination at least, we still have all the items from our tabs 4 plus that we muled out that you can still access to. So I've confirmed everything looks good. Now I'm just going to press Y one last time so that it can go ahead and kind of remove extra files and stuff that it used during this process. And that will officially end everything. And if I go back to that folder, you can see here there's kind of no extra files anymore. Everything is essentially back to normal, you know, how it was before the script. But again, now you have access to all your mule, you know, content. I apologize for the hassle. You know, obviously it's not really our fault. We're just kind of doing our best to help you guys out. And I'm also sorry that at least for now, it doesn't fix the root problem of, you know, having access to the tabs themselves yet. But at least this way, if you had a lot of valuable items or stuff that just, you know, took you time or you plain don't want to lose, you can at least retrieve those for now and deal with it, you know, that way. And then again, just as one final reminder, if you have not seen the video, if all this sounds like stuff you don't want to deal with in the future, I do recommend our D2R LAN alternative, which has things like 64 pages of 7 shared stash tabs. So not only do you just have way more than, you know, you would get in retail, but you have enough that you could use, you know, store all your items in game. You don't need to worry about third-party programs or websites or anything like that either. But anyways, not trying to really advertise, just want to help you guys out. So I hope this has been a helpful video on how you can retrieve those items. I appreciate you sticking around to the end, and have a great rest of the day. Take care. Bye.